Good afternoon. Who do you lean on in this world for help or support? As I read today's reading, the song has been in my head all morning, Lean on Me. And I just feel like that's kind of the theme for today's reading. That's what I got today. My nugget that I got today is Lean on Me. My name is Wendy Hauser. I'm with Dream Big Today, and this is my noon nugget. So today we're looking at November 14th, 2024. We're reading out of the one-year Bible. So let's go ahead and just dig in real fast. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to look at Hebrews chapter 11 and 12. And I want to specifically look at Hebrews 12, verses 12 and 13. So over the last couple days, we've been learning about faith. What is faith? And simply it's the believing in God so much so that we can trust him, right? We can stand firm in him because we believe in him with no wavering. And that's faith, right? Being able to believe in him and trust him. So Paul is talking to the Hebrews here in verse 12, and he says, "So take a new grip with your tired hands and strengthen your weak knees." Do you ever feel like you have tired hands and weak knees? Because I know that sometimes I do. But God is our strength. He gives us the endurance to run the race, right? He gives us that strength. I was thinking in today's reading about a piece of wood, specifically a staff, because it refers to it in Ezekiel. If you look at a piece of wood, we'll use this side. If you get really close, see all these little rings? One ring after another, after another, after another. And I believe that this is a perfect visual representation of our journey with the Lord. See, first we start out really, really small. And then every time we learn of him, we get a testimony of him, the Holy Spirit moves in us, then we get a new ring and a new ring and a new ring. My light just turned off for some reason. There's that better? Can you see me again? Anyway, the more that we move with Christ and the more that, see, because Paul's talking about being disciplined by the Lord, which I've talked about before. But every time we learn something new or God disciplines us and teaches us a new walk, he strengthens us. He gives us tender mercies. Each one of those things adds a new ring to our tree, and we get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And I was thinking about in Psalm chapter 12, verses 7 and 8, it says, "They do not fear bad news. They confidently trust the Lord to care for them." Do you confidently trust that the Lord will care for you? That is faith. And as we trust him and as we move in him, it says they are confident and fearless and can face their foes triumphantly. Because as we move with God and we are learning from him and growing from him, then we're getting these new rings on our tree. We're getting stronger and stronger and stronger to where we can face our enemies fearlessly because we are rooted strong in the Lord, and he's building us up and making us this giant. I think of the cypress and cedars of Lebanon, right? These amazing trees. And so I actually read Psalm 112 to my granddaughter this morning because it's a perfect representation of the joy of those who fear the Lord. This is my granddaughter, Everly. Can you say hi? She was throwing up, and so she had to stay home from school today. So she gets to join me in my new nugget. Anyway, I read it to her older sister, Abigail, this morning because I wanted her to see what God promises to those who trust the Lord. And it says that they will be joyful. They will have delight in him. Their children will be successful. They will be wealthy. Their good deeds will stand forever. Their light will shine in the darkness. I mean, it just goes on and on and on with these beautiful promises of what God offers us. And I had to show her that, because then it talks about at the very end, the wicked. The wicked will see this and be infuriated. They will grind their teeth with anger and slink away, their hopes thwarted. And so then it made me think of the Egyptians today in Ezekiel. So if we go to Ezekiel, chapter 29, verse 6 and 7, God says to Pharaoh, through Ezekiel, of course, "For to Israel you were just a staff made of reeds. When Israel leaned on you, you splintered and broke and stabbed her in the armpit. When she put her weight on you, you collapsed and her legs gave way." Think of a reed. I have this here. Think of a reed. It's kind of like a reed. And so you think of how easily it breaks. I mean, it just so easily breaks. That's not something that we would want to use as a staff to lean on or to find our strength or our footing from. And, we want a staff. We want it maybe not quite this big because we can't get our hands around it, but we want a strong staff, right? One that's been built by the Lord. I'm sorry, my light keeps turning off. I don't know why it's doing that today. Anyway, and so I thought, wow, who do we rely on? As we get strengthened in God, as He strengthens us and teaches us, not only do we become strong and rooted in God, but we can become a tool for Him. We can become a staff for others to lean on. The staff in the Old Testament generally symbolizes the power of God. It is through the staff that the miracles happen and take place. So it's like this physical representation of what God can do. I want to become a physical representation of what God can do. And I want to be a staff that is strong enough for others to rely on. But then we go back to that song that I had running through my mind. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long that I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So not only can we become strong for people to lean on us, but there's going to be times that I need to lean on you. And I want you to be my staff. Are you strong enough to be someone's staff that they can lean on when they need help, or their hands are weak, or their knees or what, their hands are weary and their knees are weak? In Proverbs today it says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." I want to be that friend. I want to be able to be a staff for others to lean on, to help them on that path back to the Lord. Because after that it says in Hebrews, when it talks about the tired hands and the weak knees, it says in 13, "Mark out a straight path for your feet, so that those who are weak and lame will not fall, but become strong." It's not just for us, guys. It's so that we can lead the way for others too. And it made me remember my friend Shauna shared about when they carried that man on the mat to the top of the house and raised him through, put him through the roof to get him to Jesus so Jesus could heal him. She talked about the friends that carried that mat. Those friends were so faithful that they were willing to face mobs and crowds and carry his weight and make their way through that crowd. They were willing to climb to the top of the house and rip open the roof so that they could get their friend to the Lord, because they knew the Lord needed him. That's the kind of friend I want to be. I think we'll just leave it off. Sorry about the light, guys. That's the kind of friend I want to be. I want to be the friend that will carry your mat, that will be your staff, that will mark out a straight path for your feet. And there's going to be times that I need that from you. And then I think about the Lord, that if we're not strengthened and rooted in him, then we can't be any of those things. It starts with the Lord. You know, the Pharaoh was wicked and was weak as a reed because he didn't have the Lord to help him, to strengthen him, to make him good. And I want to be the strong staff because I want to be a tool in God's hands. I want to be strong enough that he can trust me to use me. And I hope that we can be that for each other. And like Elizabeth talked about this morning, that's the community that we're in. And I'm just really grateful for that community. I'm grateful for Dream Big. I'm grateful for you. And I am grateful for my God and for the word that keeps me rooted, that I can read every day to be strengthened and reminded and taught and disciplined and loved. And this is my new nugget. And I thank you for joining me today. And I hope you have